So without further ado, our first selection tonight is a piece called Now's the Time, originally by Charlie Parker, but arranged by one of our faculty members, Mr. Adrian Ray, and his guest jazz combo. So please give them a very warm welcome. We have a couple of selections for you, starting chronologically from the oldest work that we have. The oldest work we have today is called Fair Phyllis. It is what's known as an English madrigal. John Farmer was a Renaissance composer, as you can see on your programs, living roughly about 1570, dying about 1601. This would have been occasional music, basically if you were born on a Friday night. You and your friends, if they had the money to buy the sheet music, you would have gone around the table and you would have sung these things to pass the time. There's no internet, there's no electricity, you're doing this by candlelight. This particular madrigal is pretty funny because there's a pretty interesting textual joke. You'll learn a little bit about Phyllis and what she likes to do if you pay close attention to the words. So we hope you enjoy Fair Phyllis, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the Mozart pieces that follow it. Piece that Miss Phyllis has a very active social life out there as a shepherdess. The next two pieces are a little bit more serious for you. These are going to be sung in Latin. These come from probably the most famous Austrian classical composer ever. His name is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, born in 1756, dying in 1791. A bit of a child phenom, him and his sister. Imagine, as some of you might, living in, let's say, Roxborough, and being a child genius and getting to tour the entirety of your youth around places like Chicago, Boston, LA, London, and then you have to go back to Roxborough at the end of the day. That was a little bit what his life was like. He felt a little stifled living in his version of Roxborough, which was called Salzburg, Austria. He really wanted to move to Vienna, where things were really happening. And, you know, a lot of the artists, a lot of the people with money that could pay him to write music lived in Vienna. So he moved to Vienna the last 10 years of his life. And unfortunately, like most rock stars of the day, they got sick and they died too early. He actually wrote this piece. He actually died before finishing this piece. This piece is what's known as a Requiem. If anyone is a Catholic in the house, you might know that a Requiem is typically sung. It is a sung liturgical service as part of your funeral. And depending on how much of a Requiem you do, it can last anywhere from about 45 minutes to a couple of hours. And over the centuries, many composers from different eras, classical, romantic, modern, would set this text and to be performed for concert purposes. We're going to give you two movements of the Requiem. One movement's called the Lacrimosa, and the second movement is called the Dies Irae. A little bit of information about the text for the Lacrimosa. And yes, I am essentially a millennial, and I will use my cell phone. The first one says, Lacrimosa dies illa, qua resurget ex favilla, iulicandus homo reus, huic ergo parce Deus, pie Jesu Domine dona eis Requiem. That means in English, full of tears will be that day when from the ashes shall rise the guilty man to be judged. Therefore spare him, O God, merciful Lord Jesus, and grant them eternal rest. Amen. So this is clearly talking about the Day of Judgment in the Judeo-Christian tradition. We're going to follow that right away with the second movement called the Dies Irae. This is the really angry part, where they talk about on that day of wrath, that day of anger will dissolve the world in ashes, as foretold to King David in the Old Testament by what's known as a Sibyl or a prophetess. How great will be the quaking when the judge comes to deliver his strict justice. So, very evocative texts that have said in much more evocative ways, so we have these two movements which will perform back to back for you. Thank you very much.
So the first thing that we played this evening was a blues. It was called "Now's the Time" by Charlie Parker, and those of us in our jazz class remember he's one of our bebop saxophonists. And one of the things that we did when we studied in jazz class this past semester is we discovered that blues is not only a set of chord changes, but it's also a form. And in order to have the blues form, you have to have the particular chord changes in a particular place in order to have a 12-bar blues. If you have 12 bars of music without those chords, you still have not created a blues. And this next song that we're going to play is by Cole Porter. He's one of our Tin Pan Alley songwriters. And this particular song is in a 32-bar song form. So in our classes, we've been studying blues form. We've been studying 32-bar song form. And that's kind of where a lot of our popular music has taken its form from. If you think about the songs you listen to today, they're verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus. But that's a particular form. That's a formula that where we plug our musical material in order to give it something that we can recognize. A form is important for songs in order for us to recognize it and follow it. All right. So this is a 32-bar song form, and it goes something like this.
stage for our final selections on the program. Goes by pretty quick, doesn't it? The next piece we have might be familiar to you in its original, well, it's not its original context, but in its English-American context. This is a piece known as Carol of the Bells. You've probably heard it around Christmas time. Commercials, church services, it's a pretty famous and popular piece. We're going to give it to you in English, but we're also going to give it to you in its original language, which is Ukrainian. Believe it or not, this was actually a Ukrainian folk song. I'll just give you a little bit of information about it. Shedrik Shedrik is a Ukrainian New Year's carol. So traditionally we associate with Christmas, but this would have been sung originally in the early 20th century in the Ukraine on what I think is the Julian New Year, which is January the 13th in our calendar. So we're going to get a little double duty for our holidays. The title of the piece, Shedrik Shedrivochka, comes from a Ukrainian word which means bountiful. And it is based on this text which describes a swallow that is foretelling the new year and foretelling all of the material wealth that you will gain. I'll tell you a little about the text specifically. It says, Shedrik Shedrich Vochka, a little swallow flew into the house and started to twitter to summon the master. And the swallow says, come out, O master of the household, look at the sheep pen. There the ewes, or female sheep, have yeaned, and the lambkins have been born. Your livestock is great, and you're going to get a lot of money from selling them. If not money, you will have a lot of chaff. You'll know what chaff is. Chaff is what you can get when you start to process wheat. And you also have a dark-eyebrowed wife, which apparently is a big compliment in the Ukraine. Shedrik Shedrivochka, a little swallow flew. So we'll sing it for you in English, and then we'll sing it for you in the original Ukrainian. Thanks very much. to come up and give you a little bit of information that you might not have known about this, I'm going to invite my colleague, Dr. Paul Poli, to the stage to give us a little bit about music and meaning from, it's Disney's Coco, I believe.
Thank you so much, Dr. Neal, and thank you to the WECTEC Chorus for allowing me to just say a few short words about the context of the film, Coco. How many of you have seen Coco the movie? Okay, yeah, quite a few of you have. If you haven't seen it, it's very much worthwhile. It's the largest grossing movie ever presented in Mexico, and it was a huge hit throughout Latin America as well. As far as the content of the movie itself, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's about a young boy named Miguel who is in Mexico during the Day of the Dead celebrations, and those are celebrations right after our Halloween at the beginning of November, and he travels from the land of the living to the land of the remembered, the afterlife and the afterworld, and there he learns a lot about his family and about their relationship with music. And what's special about Day of the Dead in Mexico is that it's not just about remembering your family, the lost family members that you have, but actually commemorating them. And commemoration is going farther than remembrance. It's not just thinking about them, it's actually bringing them back to, bringing them to remembrance by doing something or by making something. And so what many Mexicans will do on the Day of the Dead is they'll go to graveyards and they'll clean off the gravestones and they'll plant flowers and maybe have a picnic and talk, and at their houses they'll make altars with photographs of their loved ones and include objects that they liked when they were alive. And so it's interesting how this combination of thinking about them, reflecting on them, and as well doing something with your body, your mind and the body together, create stronger bonds of family, reaching back into the past, and also hopefully the expectation or the hope that you also will be remembered in the future. And in the present, you're building stronger bonds with your current family, with your town as all of you celebrate this, and indeed with the whole nation, because they too, across the country, are remembering their loved ones. As far as music is concerned, it's a big part of the commemorative event. You would invite mariachi bands to come into your home to sing a song, all of this for a small fee, to sing songs in the street if you come across them, in the plazas, maybe even outside the graveyards. And in the movie, the two songs, which are Remember Me and Proud Corazon, they both have a lot to do with memory. The first one, those of you who've seen the movie will remember, is kind of the centerpiece to the whole film. We first hear it when Miguel is up in his attic watching old movies of this big, larger-than-life performer named Ernesto de la Cruz, as he belts out the song to thousands of admiring fans who are going crazy for him. And Miguel says, wow, I want to be that kind of performer, right? But as the movie goes along, we learn that that same song, Remember Me, was actually written with a very different purpose. It was actually more of a lullaby, so still a love song, but not a romantic love song, a love song about family. And so it's performed again, but this time much more quiet, in a much more understated way, reflective way, emotional way. And so the same song, performed in two different ways, creates very, very different meanings. And the way they're performed is uniquely Mexican as well. The first version, the one by Ernesto de la Cruz, the big voice, he sings it in a ranchera style of music, which is very much like our country music in the United States. The themes are the same. They're patriotism, life on the farm, bar fights, maybe who has the fastest horse, and then we have tragic love as well as a big theme. But it's not a love song you might sing or whisper in your lover's ear. No, this is music that you belt from the roof of your house to let everyone in the whole town know that you're in love. And the other version of the song, the quieter version, is a different style of Mexican folk music called the bolero romántico, and it's much more quiet, much more interior. And kind of the hallmark of the bolero romántico is sincerity, right? The person you're singing to, usually it's just one person, not thousands of people. They have to actually believe that you really love them, right? So what we see with the second song you'll hear tonight, Proud Corazón, is that Miguel, kind of learning from this experience, melds the two styles of Mexican folk music together. First you'll hear the more quiet, more interior, more sincere bolero romántico, and then as the song goes along, it gets a little bit more boisterous, a little more lively, and that's the ranchera influence that you hear. And it sort of, ties up nicely what Miguel has learned about his dreams and how it's great to be a big performer, but you still want to be sincere and faithful to your roots. So without further ado, let's get to the music with, first of all, Remember Me, and then Proud Corazón.
Sing a secret song to you each night we are apart.
So again, we have one more selection for you. It comes at the very end of the film. We really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for being with us again tonight. Please enjoy Proud Corazón.